Friends, in my opinion, there is no such thing called reverse mentoring. Why am I saying that? To explain what I have in mind, I may need to spend a minute on gaining a common understanding about what mentoring is as understood by all of us. Mentoring would normally mean that a senior with greater life experiences and wisdom is in a position to engage with the junior in a at will, free flowing, collaborative learning relationship to help that person and settle down. A mentoring relationship also assumes that the past and the history in many ways informs the future. Against this context, the term reverse mentoring was seen as a breakthrough idea where a senior allows a junior person in age and experience to mentor him or her. The reason I have a problem with that term is that some of the assumptions that we are making might be fallacious. Firstly, it has a certain patronizing tone to it that I am open to being mentored by a junior person. Second, reverse mentoring is quite often associated mostly with things like use of technology, social media, and so on and so forth. But I want to go back to some of the fundamental assumptions around mentoring which have changed dramatically. While history is important, history is no longer going to always determine what and how we will do in the future. While experience might be of some value, experience of the past no longer informs our actions in the future. Finally, to assume that wisdom resides with an older person and less with a younger person is completely fallacious. Therefore, the only realistic thing to say is that anyone can mentor anyone. Mentoring is all that counts. There is no such thing called reverse mentoring. Now, what are some very fundamental conditions for anyone to mentor another person? First, I must have a certain appreciation and familiarity with the context that that person is dealing with. Two, I must have some content of relevance to that person. Three, I must be able to use style which works for that person so that that person can learn, change, and flourish. There are several dimensions on which uh, people who are far younger are able to mentor people who are older quite well. Let's take the subject of seeking help to deal with one's issues of mental well being. A young person at the age of 25, 30 has overcome all stigma and resistance and is quite open to seek help. And therefore, if someone older wants to know how do I really seek help and deal with the various challenges I'm facing, a young person has familiarity with that context, perhaps has some experience of having found a counselor or a therapist and worked with that person, and can share it in a simple, transparent way that can enable and empower that person. Let's talk about a certain level of intelligence and sensitivity about societal issues. The amount of appreciation, intelligence, and comfort that people of a younger age have around contemporary social issues is far superior, quite often, to people who are still struggling to come to terms with these issues, be it gender, be it race, uh, be it a certain level of wokeness, be it about environment. There is a lot to learn from anyone, young or old, who has a certain awareness of the context I'm dealing with, has some content to share with me, and can do it in a way that works for me. Take the subject of work life balance, or even take the subject of working with people of different generations, winning their respect, adding value to them, influencing them, inspiring them. All of these call for any person to revisit their personal truths and embrace slightly altered personal truths. So, anyone who's familiar with my context and has some content to share can mentor me. So, I think we will need to change our narrative. Mentoring is such a powerful tool and approach for learning and change, and anyone can mentor anyone. And I think we need to move away from a certain patronizing stance that reverse mentoring is a privilege I'm granting to younger people. It's not true. There is a lot we can learn from people who are so different and diverse from us. And that is the only way people will get into the future. Thank you.
Audio Jungle.